Alright, so we're going to be tying a number 4 Thunder Creek silver shiner. Might as well call it the Thunder Creek chartreuse shiner. So we're going to be using chartreuse thread and some chartreuse body material, along with a darker green for the top. But so I got my number 4 streamer hook. It's a Mustad R73 9671 in size 4. Gonna just make some wraps. You don't need a ton of this stuff. I mean, you can put as much of it on as you want if you want this thing to fish heavy because you're fishing deep lakes or reservoirs. Build it up with this stuff, or keep it light, keep it simple. The real reason why I'm keeping it to this portion of the hook is because when we go to build this up, this stuff is going to be under the head material. It's going to help give us this profile. So that's why the placement is where it is. Build it up heavier on the front end if you're going to make several wraps or make something really heavy for deep water pockets. So I'm going to give myself a couple wraps on the front, give myself really a tight starting point, and I'm going to take my tag end and hold it over my weighted wire section. Do a couple wraps, build it a little bit up for a taper. Put the tag end going forward, pull the tag end back. Alright, this is looking good. I always, after doing this, I try and twist this stuff, and if it moves on me, I know I gotta go over it. And the main thing will be is to build several wraps when you're against the hook shank part of the fly, rather than over the weighted wire or lead wire, whatever you're using. But if I give myself enough anchor wraps here and here against the shank of the hook, this stuff won't want to spin on me. So that's why I build them the way I build them, saving the tag and everything. This point, it helps if you touch it up with a little super glue. Add strength, add security. We'll need the glue to make the tinsel bridge the this taper. I mean, I know I've built it up. I'm going to build it up some more, as well as give thread wraps all the way to the point where I'm going to tag in my tinsel. But we're just building some profile with our thread. Alright, I've got, I'm going to use purple, because why not? contrast the chartreuse and look all Batman Joker or Halloween tragedy. I don't know. But we're going to tie it in, give the underbelly a little bit of flash, just to bring in those big guys. Really, you can use whatever color of flash you want. I'm just using purple because it was here on my desk. I didn't have to make a break in the video, go searching. Alright. Just going to do a half hitch for my security. I'm going to hang that off to the side and take advantage of my rotary vise situation. You may not have a rotary vise. You can rotate this by hand, but in the essence of trying to make a video quick here, time-wise, I'm just going to take advantage of my tools. And if you go too fast or your tinsel's too skinny, you can work back. Doesn't matter. We're going to coat the whole thing with super glue after we're done wrapping it anyway. So if you're sloppy, just try and cover the whole thing with the purple flash. Or whatever color flash you're using. It doesn't have to be exact. I've got what I want. It's just nice and secure. Everything is where you want it. Just building a little bit of a body. Two different colors, fox fur. Darker green that we're going to put on top, and then this bright yellow. Both are sort of chartreuse. Or maybe this is bright Kelly green. I don't know. We'll start with the bottom first. I feel like that works out the best. Whichever color you decide to do second seems to be a little more sloppy. I mean, we're going to try and be as clean as possible, but I find that once there's some material there, it's easier for the secondary material to sort of roll on top of it and roll around it. So you kind of want to avoid doing things. Alright, so you tie in both your colors going forward. Sorry I was quiet. And you keep them as separate as possible. You see how the yellow and the green are not touching? I take a straw, just a drinking straw. It's fastened to my scissors. For this fly in particular, or flies like it. I mean, I really like the way this looks. I think it makes a fishy pattern, and the fish seem to think so also. going to do about 3 wraps and check myself out. I feel like I could tug on this just a little over. But it's pretty good. The main thing is you don't want these to blur or to be pulled all the way down. All the time when you're cinching stuff down, maybe the first pass you do too tight and you pull the material around with you. It's better to do like 2 turns and tighten down on your 3rd turn. Just a tip. That works pretty well with everything, including fur or hair, for that matter, if you're flaring it or just working with the fox fur like we are today. Alright, this is pretty much the pattern. We're going to tie this off, we're going to glue some eyes on, and we're going to epoxy coat the whole thing. We might, for the size of this hook, I think I'm too long. I'm going to pinch here and start tearing. I don't cut with the scissors. I think it looks way better if you rip it. It builds sort of a natural taper, especially if you pinch where you want the fibers to stop, but you keep tearing away until you're happy. You don't want it too much longer than the curve of the hook. I mean, a little bit is nice, but I'm gonna try and just take off another. That looks pretty good to me, you know. 3/4 of an inch, half an inch behind the actual hook of the hook. You just don't want them to come in and take it and short strike off of it. So, you know, maybe I take a little bit more. Alright. This is good. The underbelly being purple sort of looks like that back stripe, black stripe in a bass. Sort of my thought, as this is a little baby largemouth or baby smallmouth, depending on if I pick red eyes or the clear eyes. I'm just doing half hitches right at my collar point on a silver shiner, like white and black on top or white with a gray on top. You could pick black thread, you could pick red thread, make it look like it's a gill, the end of the gill plate where the actual gills are breathing. It's pretty effective. I'm just going for these little chartreuse guys. Gonna trim away. Gonna shellac my thread in with some super glue. I'm also gonna prep the head for the eyes. So really, it doesn't matter if I have a ton of super glue on here. You want it coating sort of the whole thing. This will give the head some weight. This will also make it very secure and last a very long time. The trickiest part about this whole operation now is setting these little eyes into place without gluing the tips of your fingers, so you can continue tying flies and not have sticky materials. I mean, I sort of already have some gunk. But I'm not going to get into personal hygiene with you guys. You guys do what you want. I have a set of eyes out, and I'm going to attempt to apply them fingerlessly, because I don't want to have super glues. That was good. That was way better than I was expecting. All right. I just always look at the top of the fly and make sure that these line up with each other. You don't want to have a crooked eye or a lazy-eyed fish, or I don't know. You want it to look symmetrical is what I'm getting at. And I think I'm looking good. You know, this is another great way, is set the vise towards you, especially if you're going to trim away any sort of a collar, or you spun some deer hair to make a head. Always look at it from the front, especially setting eyes or anything symmetry related. It's going to help you out. Alright, I'm going to quit recording here, but my final step once the super glue dries is to hit it with some UV thin and just, you know, do the light torch thing. Anyway, it looks pretty good as is. If you don't want to invest in all the UV cure, you don't need to. Just hit it with more super glue around each eye and call it a day. But there you have it. It's the Thunder Creek Silver Shiner, tied in chartreuse and yellow.